It is time to celebrate the return of spring. The spring equinox marks the first day of the spring season. So it's a really magical and powerful time of inspiration, creation, and growth. It's also a time to reintegrate balance into your life and plant the seeds of dreams and intentions that might have been brewing inside of you over the course of these slow and quiet winter months. Today's practice is an invigorating and balancing yin-yang yoga practice. So for the first half of the practice, we're going to gently move and flow, and for the second half, we're going to slow right down, come down to the earth, and stretch it out. This is an all levels class, all mobility levels, all beautiful body shapes are welcome, and modifications, as always, will be offered. Welcome to Yoga with Carolynne, teaching yoga students how to find more comfort and presence in life through the lessons of gentle hatha and yin yoga, no matter your shape or ability to touch your toes. All right, my lovelies, so as per usual, a couple of blocks are going to be really helpful for today's practice because we're going to be playing with a little bit of balance. So blocks are always a helpful tool to help raise the floor up to help support you in your yoga practice. We're going to be starting right as I am in hero's pose. So the best way to support yourself in this shape is to prop yourself up. So if you know that starting seated in this way is not going to be a really accessible shape for you depending on how your ankles are feeling, how your knees are feeling, then grabbing one or two blocks to raise the floor up and bring something underneath of your sit bones is a really nice added tool. The reason that we're starting in this shape is because it's almost impossible to slouch in hero's pose. So great place to start to be able to begin to lengthen that spine, which helps with lots of other things in your yoga practice. So settling yourself into this shape, make sure that it feels supportive and it feels comfortable. And then allow your hands to come onto your lap. You get to choose either palm face down or palm face up, completely up to you. If it feels okay, if it feels safe, bring your eyes to a close. If it doesn't feel comfortable, just allow some softness to come into the gaze. And allow yourself to arrive. Using your yoga practice, your time and space on your mat as a tool to help celebrate and create ritual around the change of the seasons can be a really helpful way to connect. We are really connected to all of it, right? So this is a beautiful way to find that connection between you and the natural world around you. So as you settle onto your yoga mat, notice what energies you might be feeling swirling around you or inside of you. And maybe that encompasses exploring what emotions you've been feeling, whether they be high or they be low. Just taking stock in where you're at. And then allowing your awareness to come into your breath as you begin to lengthen and deepen your inhales and your exhales. Inviting in a welcoming aspect to your practice. And on the exhale, letting go of anything that won't serve you during your practice today. Two more like that. Inhaling whatever feels good, whatever is welcome. And letting go of anything that won't serve you. Whether that be self-limiting beliefs or any sort of I can'ts or I shoulds. Beautiful, and then slowly fluttering into the eyes. We'll begin to find some movement. Take an inhale to reach the fingertips out towards the side and all the way up toward the sky. On the exhale, bend into the elbows, pull the elbows back and down and down. Two more times like that. Move at your own pace. Beautiful. Next time your hands come down towards the floor, remove that prop from beneath your sit bones. And then bring yourself forward onto your hands and your knees, just so that then you can curl your toes under. You can lift your knees up away from the mat to take a look at your toes, making sure that they're all pretty much even. Then your knees come back down towards the mat, and we'll take a few rounds of breath in this toe stretch. So either you keep your hands on the floor in front of you, depending on how your toes are feeling, or you can allow the hands to come onto the thigh as you find stillness. This toe stretch is a really great way to give your feet some love and attention after being cramped in winter boots all year round if you live in a climate where it's been snowy and cold. Breathe through whatever sensations you might be feeling. If they're big sensations, that's okay. Be here for it. Taking one more inhale. Exhale at the mouth. Making your way forward if their hands are not already there. Uncurl the toes and then kick the toes onto the mat to help release that. And then bringing yourself into your tabletop position. So spreading the fingers wide, wrists are underneath of the shoulders, knees are under the hips. Take an inhale to drop the belly down, gaze looks up towards the sky. Starting at the base of your spine, begin to tip the pelvis, spread the shoulder blades, then tuck the chin in towards the chest. One more time like that, inhale. Exhale. Beautiful, come back into your nice long spine. Bring the weight into your left knee to pick up into the right leg, and then just reach that right foot back behind you, and then bring the right toes down. Finding a stretch in the back line of that right leg, reach the right heel towards the back of your space. Okay. Now bringing your attention to your left leg, pick up into the left foot, and then just allow that left foot to go out towards the side. You're creating a little bit of a kickstand in that left leg. Plant firmly into that left palm. Maybe you bring it a little bit more in line with that left knee. And then begin to open up towards the right. So you'll notice here your right heel will come down onto the mat, and then reach the right hand up towards the sky. Coming into gate pose, Parigasana. From this shape, bring your attention into your belly, into your center. Bring the belly button in towards the spine. And then lift up into that right foot. Flex the right foot. Breathe through any sort of wobbling or shaking as you explore this balancing pose. Take one more inhale here. Exhale, bring that foot down, bring the right hand down, come back into center, back into your tabletop position. From your tabletop position, we'll do that on the other side. So pick up into the left leg this time, reach the left toes back behind you, curl the toes under to bring the toes down. First, start with just enjoying this nice stretch for the back line of the left leg. And then bring your attention into your right leg, pick up into the right foot, allow the foot to come out towards the side, creating that little kickstand in your right leg. Find that placement of the right hands. It can come a little bit in line with the right knee. And then slowly begin to turn towards the left side of your space as you bring the left heel down, left hand reaches up towards the sky to come into gate pose. Feel that sensation across the heart. Activate into the legs, so lift the kneecap. And bring your attention into the center of your body. Bring that belly button in towards the spine. Really connect into this center. That'll help when you come into your balancing pose. So bring that left foot out away from the floor. Flex into the toes, so toes towards you, heel towards the back of your space. And breathe. Beautiful. Take one more inhale. Exhale, that foot comes down, that left hand comes down, come back into your tabletop position. From your tabletop position, take a step forward with the hands, spread those fingers nice and wide, curl the toes under, just straighten the legs, send the hips up and back into your downward facing dog. Pedal it out into the legs, bend one knee, bend the other knee. You can shake the head to relax the neck. And then settling into stillness in your downward facing dog. You can have a generous bend in the knees, and if downward dog does not feel like a shape you want to do today, then bring your knees back down towards the mat and just hang out in your tabletop position. From either tabletop or downward facing dog, we'll meet at the back of the mat. So take some steps with the hands, walking the hand towards the back of your space to come into your forward fold, ragdoll. Create a really solid foundation for your body here. You can widen the feet, bend into the knees, allow the back of the neck to really relax. The head droops down. And then bringing your attention into your feet, press into the big toe, the little toe, and then all 3 toes in between. Press into the heel. That softness really comes into the knees here, which will help with keeping the low back safe as you slowly roll up to standing. Take your time, there's no rush here. Once you make your way up in your mountain pose, roll those shoulders back. Allow the palms to open towards the front of your space and pause. Notice the sensations you feel here as you've sprouted up into your mountain. Press into the feet to then inhale, reach the fingertips up towards the sky. On the exhale, tip all the way down and forward. Inhale, find your half lift, flat back. Bring the hands onto the shins or the knees. Exhale, forward fold. Walk the hands forward to come into your plank pose, your high push-up. And then right away, bring the knees down. Take an inhale here. Exhale, bend at the elbows, come all the way down towards the floor. Cobra pose, roll the shoulders down the back as you shine the heart forward. Keep those arms bent. Exhale, bring the heart down. Press into your hands and knees to inhale, come into your tabletop. Then curl the toes under. Exhale, find your downward facing dog. From your downward facing dog, this time we're gonna walk towards the front of the mat. So take your time, take as many steps as you need to get there. You're in your forward folds. On your inhale, come up into your half lift, flat back. Lengthen into the back of the neck. Exhale, let the head get heavy, the arms get heavy. Press into the feet to inhale, reach the fingertips forward, come all the way up. Exhale, bring the hands into heart center. Beautiful work. Bring the hands onto the hips, bring the weight into that left foot to just pick up into the right foot and then take a big step towards the back of your mat. And then we'll come into warrior 2. So ground that right heel down, bend into that left knee. Open the hips towards the side of your space and then open up into the arms. Soften into the shoulders, looking above the middle finger of the left hand. Take a peek towards your left knee, just making sure that you can see your left toes, so that left knee is opening out towards the side. Beautiful. Now bring your hands onto your hips, straighten into that left leg. Walk that right foot in just like a step, and then allow the toes to come in a little bit, creating a 45-degree angle with that right foot. Grab hold of your block. We're coming into triangle pose, Trikonasana. Both legs are straight. Open up into the arms. Reach towards the front of your space. Reach, reach, reach. When you can't reach anymore, that's when you bring that left hand down. Right hand either reaches up towards the sky or you allow the right hand to come onto the right hip. So that same engagement and connection that you found at the beginning of the practice in gate pose, find that again. So see if you can feel a hugging in and a hugging in from the sides as well. Using your inhale, come on all the way back up. Bring the hands onto the hips, and then we're gonna come all the way towards the back of your mat. So bring your block with you. Allow the toes to pivot and find that shape. So we'll find that Trikonasana pose, triangle shape at the back of your mat. So that 45-degree angle with your left toes. Open up into the arms. Your block is there to support you. Reach the right fingertips towards the back of your space. Reach, 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 reach. When you can't reach anymore, that's when you begin to tip your right hand down. Left hand either reaches up towards the sky or the left hand comes onto the left hip. So notice the difference between just tipping as opposed to engaging in the center, reaching, and then tipping. So find that connection into your center. And then using your inhale to come on all the way back up. Getting ready to come into your warrior two. So take that step back with the back foot, so the left foot, and then bend into that right knee. Sink it down. Don't worry about how low you're coming. All we're aiming to do is find sensation somewhere in your body, whatever feels good. Notice what balance you can find in this shape. So there's a sense of grounding down into the mat, sinking down into the tailbone, but there's also that sense of reaching up towards the sky with the crown of the head, finding that length in your spine. Hands come back onto the hips as you straighten into that right leg. Beautiful. And then pivot, so your toes are reaching towards the side of your space, and then bring your feet in. One last shape in this standing shape, and then we'll come back down towards the mat. So we'll ask you to grab hold of your block. We're gonna come into a balancing shape called half moon. So your block is towards the front end of your space. If you don't have a block, use a chair, or use the wall, or use the edge of the couch. So that block is there in front of you in its highest height. You're facing towards the front end of your mat. Take a step forward with that left foot. Ground down into that left foot, connect into your center. Whatever that feels like, what does it feel like to connect into your center? Once you've found that connection and that grounding down into that left foot, begin to pick up into the right foot. Engage into that right leg, so flex the toes. As you kick that right foot back, hovering the heart above the mat, above the block, place your left hand onto that block. So this is balance here, my darling, so be patient, be kind with yourself. I'm gonna give you a couple different options here to explore. This is option one, just practicing this shape here with floating that right foot up away from the mat. If you have your right foot floating up away from the mat for 1 second, celebrate that. Option two would be to stack the right hip onto the left hip so you begin to turn towards the right side of your space. Option three would be to reach the right hand up towards the sky. Meet yourself where you are. Explore balance as being a tool to find compassion and let go of perfection. From wherever you are, I was gonna say gracefully land out of it, fall out of it if you do, and then bring yourself back up. Beautiful, we'll come into the shape on the other side, so you don't have to move from where you are. I will though. Taking a step forward, this time with the right foot. Hands are still on those hips. Press into that right foot to begin to pick up into the left foot. Flex the toes, toes reaching down, heel reaching back. As soon as you find that parallel of heart above mat, leg above mat, bring the right hand down. So you know the options now, so meet yourself with where you'd like to practice today and celebrate wherever you are. Option one is to stay right here. Option two is to begin to pivot so that you stack the left hip on top of the right. Option three would be to extend into the left hand. Hey-o, balance. Be kind, be compassionate, my darling. Balance is hard. And then from wherever you are, slowly or ungracefully and unslowly bring yourself out of the shape. Beautiful. Move that block out of the way. Bring yourself towards the back end of your mat. Find your mountain pose, your Tadasana shape again. Roll those shoulders back. Hands are open towards the front of your space. If it feels okay, your eyes come back to a close. Settle back into that rhythm of your breath. Let's slow things down. On the inhale, reach the fingertips forward and the fingertips come all the way up towards the sky. On the exhale, softness in the knees as you just fall down. Once you come down into your forward fold, walk the hands forward, downward facing dog just for a sec. And then from your downward facing dog, bring the knees down towards the mat. Create space for your body here, so maybe the knees go nice and wide. Bring your toes together. Send your hips back towards your heels, child's pose. If the floor doesn't meet comfortably with the forehead, then you can raise the floor by stacking a few fists underneath of your forehead or a couple of blocks. Learning to support yourself in your practice will only benefit you learning how to support yourself in your life. Encourage the breath to soften a little bit more. Breathing in inspiration and letting go of anything that doesn't serve you right now. Moving really, really slowly here. The hands come underneath of the shoulders to press yourself up. Bring the knees back into center if they were nice and wide, and let this crawling forward, and then allow your feet to come over towards the side, your hips come down, legs come in front of you. And then bring yourself all the way down towards the mat. As we come into a few yin yoga postures to help really stretch out the body, balance out the practice, and bring a little bit of peace into your day. So allow the legs to come into a bend, soles of the feet are on the mat, and bring your hands palm face down in your belly to encourage a sensation of grounding, of comfort. And then from this shape, if the knees are knocked in towards each other, allow the knees to come back in line with the hips. And pick up into your right foot. Place the right ankle onto your left knee and allow the right knee to kind of fall away from your body. Pick up into the legs to grab hold of something. So maybe you grab hold of the right leg with the right hand and the left leg with the left hand. Or you grab hold of the back of your left thigh or the left shin. If none of those options are comfortable for you, then scoot yourself over towards a wall and place the sole of the left foot against the wall. So then you don't have to hold your body up, you don't have to hold your legs up, you can just hang out in this shape. We're going to be here for a few deep breaths, a few moments. The yin yoga practice really encompasses this idea of slowing down. Using the time and the space and the breath that you have in these poses to create space. So we're not forcing, we're not tugging, we're not aiming to reach any specific goal. You're simply using this sense of surrender and softening to create that space and create that connection with yourself and with the world around you. Taking one last inhale here. One last exhale. Beautiful. If you're up against a wall, then just kind of scoot yourself away from the wall. And then come back in this figure four pose and just bring the sole of the left foot down onto the mat. Come into a twist with the same position in the legs. So press into the left foot to pick up into the hips and scooch the hips over towards the right and then bring them down. And then keeping the legs as they are, just allow the feet, or the legs rather, to fall over towards the left. So the sole of the right foot comes down onto the mat. So a little bit of a different twist if you're used to coming into a yoga twists. And then choose what you'd like to do with the arms. They can come into a cactus arm shape or come into a T shape. Bring your eyes back to a close as you settle into this twist. Breathing into wherever you feel the sensation, wherever you feel that stretch. And slowly begin to release out of the shape. So bringing the legs back into center. Sole of the left foot comes back onto the mat. Scooch your hips back into the center and then release that right leg. Just for a moment here, pause and notice what you feel in the low back. And then getting ready to come into the shape on the other side. So if you know that you're going to want to be using the wall, then scoot yourself over towards the wall. Pick up into the left foot, left ankle comes onto that right knee. Pick up into the legs. If you're using the wall, the sole of the right foot comes up against the wall. Or you grab hold of the legs in any way that is accessible, that is comfortable, that is supportive for you. Help keep that knee safe. So in this case, on this side, it's the left knee. Flex that left ankle, that left foot. What would it feel like if you brought a little bit more smoothness into your breath? If you're up against the wall, slowly making your way away from that wall. And then releasing that right leg, or both of your legs. Sole of the right foot comes back down onto the mat. Pick up into the hips, scooch the hips over towards the left, hips come down. And then allow the legs to fall over towards the right. So the sole of the right foot comes down onto the mat. I didn't mention this on the other side, but if the sole of the foot doesn't come down comfortably towards the floor, then don't do it. Uncross the legs and just come into your traditional twist with your knees stacked on top of each other, or you can play with placing a block underneath of that left foot. So do any sort of adjustments that you need to here in your hips and your low back. Find your shape for your arms. And invite that softness to come back into the face as you settle into the stillness of this practice. If you're finding that in this shape you're still holding tension or you're still holding on somewhere physically in the body, some exhales at the mouth in the forms of sighs can sometimes be really beneficial, really helpful. Slowly release out of the shape to bring legs and hips back into center. Unhook that left ankle. Bring the knees in towards the chest to hug those knees in. Rocking from side to side to massage into the low back. And then allowing the soles of the feet to come back down onto the mat. We'll come into one last shape, which is a really gentle hip opener. Supta Baddha Konasana. Allow the soles of the feet to come together. Open the knees nice and wide. If your knees would benefit from added support, you can place your blocks underneath of your knees so you're not having to hold your knees up, your legs up for the period of time that we're in this shape. And then I'll invite you to place your hands on your belly, palm face down, as you watch the rhythm of your inhales and your exhales travel in and out of the body. Again, sensing into whatever energies you might be feeling inside or outside of you. Sensing into the stirring and the welcoming of spring. This time to bloom, this time to create. then to release out of the shape, the hands will come underneath the thighs to hug the knees back into center. And then extend into the legs to come into your final resting shape, Shavasana, corpse pose. Opening up into the arms, the palms are open towards the sky. And let your whole body just settle into the support of the earth beneath you, of the mat beneath you. And then beginning to deepen the inhales and exhales again. Reach the hands up overhead, stretching fingertips away from toes. Knees come in towards the chest, hugging those knees in. Rolling over towards one side to then just press yourself up to seated. Once you make your way back up to seated, bring your hands into heart center, pressing the palms together, thumbs are pressing in towards the heart. The eyes are closed. Noticing what sensations you feel in the physical body, but as well as in the heart and the mind. Taking this time to intentionally celebrate and welcome not only the return of spring, but maybe also the return of inspiration inside your heart. As you take this moment to create an intention of what you would like this coming season to look like or offer you or bloom into. Now we'll end the practice with one last breath. Take a deep inhale. Exhale at the mouth, let it go. And slowly fluttering the eyes open. Thank you so much for practicing with me today, my darling, and happy spring equinox. Thank you so much for joining me during today's spring equinox celebration. If you enjoyed today's practice and you want a little bit more yin yang in your life, there is a live spring equinox virtual class happening on March 20th, which is part of the Bloom Spring Equinox Yoga Experience. If you're interested and this sounds like something that's really exciting and enticing for enhancing your yoga practice, I would absolutely love to have you join, and all the details and registration are in the link below.